figure fans? It's the one and only Optibotimus, who Kevin Eastman himself, the co-creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, has deemed the best TMNT YouTube reviewer out there, and I'm coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the new Mondo 1/6 scale Donatello from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, their second turtle that they've released, and obviously my favorite character. For the package, you got that really nice image of Donatello in a very action pose kind of thing. You got the TMNT kind of text and logo with Nickelodeon. There has been some debate as to why they went with this particular logo when that's more designed for the new cartoon. Well, Nickelodeon decides all that. So Mondo has to do with what Nick tells them. You can see that this is the Mondo exclusive, and I'll get into what that is here in a bit, but then you see a really nice, just purple box. On the side, it says Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. On the back, you got an absolute gorgeous artwork showing all four of the turtles jumping down from the skyscrapers, which absolutely looks incredible. Then when you come back around, you can open it up. It's got a little bit of a Velcro. Then you got an open window with a figure that's not there right now because I don't want to spoil it for you. And then on the side here, you got a couple sketches of Donnie, as well as some of his actual accessories, which I like. I love getting those kind of behind the scenes kind of looks. But for the packaging on this guy, really, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Donatello opened up and out of its packaging. And right up front, I know that a lot of you don't watch my reviews for Ninja Turtles, but many of you know how much I love the turtles themselves. So if you watch this video, I just want to send a very special thanks to you guys. I know that my reviews of these don't get a lot of traffic, but they're still absolute joys for me to do. So hopefully you guys that do enjoy them are enjoying watching these. Now for his accessories, much like Leonardo, he does come with a lot. Similarly to Leo, he does come with one of the Utron blasters. Very simple, but very accurate to how it looked in the comic books. You got a very nice silver paint on there, some more silver kind of in the base of it. One thing that I like, and I've seen some people that have complained about it, but when you look at some of the paint detail on there, it does have a little bit of what they're calling a sloppy look. But honestly, to me, it gives it a little bit more of a cartoon kind of sketch look to it, which I do like. I don't know if they intended it to look like that, but I actually really do dig it. Much like how like the body looks and everything, there is some, like I said, sketch quality to it, and I do dig it. So you do get the Utron blaster. Like I said, Leo came with that as well. Also, like Leo, you do get the kind of grapple hook thing right there. You got a nice little string right there. I'm not gonna unravel it or anything, but you just got a nice silver paint on there. You can hook it on and have them climb around or something like that. You also do get a couple of the little ninja stars. You get this 8-sided one. It is just done in this nice silver paint, but you can see you got 8 sides. You got a little hole going through there, and then you also do get a pair of 4-sided ones with a nice kind of silver outline around the edges and then through the center, and then you can see they're just black painted on the kind of inside. Again, you got little holes in there, but much like Leo, Donatello comes with these as well. And then in addition to the more weapon holding kind of hands, he also comes with a pair of hands with these little kind of nail spike things on there. Again, really fairly simple. We did get these with obviously Leonardo, and it's just got these like little silver spikes coming through, but you can see some nice detail with the paint application coming around for the straps, and then you can see good detail with the actual hands themselves with some wrinkles and some shading. Now, unlike Leonardo, if you remember, he actually came with a finger that had him pointing, and you'll see that here in a bit because that's still the hand that I have on him. Donatello comes with one that's done up in a thumbs up kind of pose, so hit that for this video. Hit the thumbs up button, but you do have that, which is cool. I like the fact that they're giving slightly different hands for them in different kind of poses. That's kind of cool. And then much like Leo, you do get a little baby turtle. One thing that is cool about bringing in Leo's, you can see that the color is a little bit different. Obviously, the belly is a little bit different of a color. It's a little bit more orangish on Donnie than the kind of yellowish on Leo. Sculpting wise, I think it's the exact same. You just get a different color on them. Coming in here to take a little bit closer of a look, you can see that obviously Donnie is a little bit darker of a color, whereas Leo's was a little bit lighter. You can see that the shell also has a slightly different look to it. This is a little bit, I guess, lighter than Leo's looks. I mean, the biggest difference is coming in the green in them, which in addition to this, it also carries over in the larger size figure. So that's really cool. I mean, I love having the little tiny baby. That really displays nicely. Then if you remember, Leonardo actually came with, well, might as well bring him in, a little tiny kind of karate posed version of Splinter before he was mutated. Donnie here actually comes with a 6 scale Utrom, which is great. Taking a look at the detail on this, I mean, this is absolutely spectacular. I love it. Now, the Utrom are different than, obviously, the Krang and then just Krang from the cartoon series. A lot of people do get very confused with them, but they do have a really evil kind of wicked look. You can see some ugly teeth in there, some veins, and great variation with the color with the purple and the pink. Obviously, you got his little tentacles around there. You got little kind of hands on the front tentacles with here, like little fingers and stuff, but absolutely gorgeous. Really nice paint detail. You can see a big smile, kind of like a giant crack going through it. And at the bottom, it just has a little flat surface so you can just sit there. So that was the included accessory, much like, you know, Leo came with the little Splinter figure. Now, they also do come with their signature weapons. Unfortunately, as you can see, Donnie's bow staff came bent for me. One thing that I will say is that the quality on this does seem to be a marked improvement over Leonardo. There was a lot of issues with it, and it does seem that Mondo was able to go through and fix a lot of those. So that's definitely a nice bonus, but you can still see that my bow staff is a little bit bent. Now, I should be able to fix that fairly easily. Just use some, you know, boiling water or even a hairdryer or something, but you can see real nice textural detail with some paint variations, giving a very nice wood look. And then you come to the straps and you can see definitely looks like kind of straps or tape or something wrapped around there, and fairly big still too. So I mean, you can see that it's actually taller than Donnie, which is great, even when it's straight. So if I kind of bend it, so when you get it like that, it's a taller piece than him, which I do appreciate. You come around here to the back of him, and you can see that he does have a little holster thing right here that you can take this. It is tight, but you can slide it through there, and then when you get to the actual strapping, it does get a little bit tighter, so you can fit it in there, and it looks pretty good. So you do have weapon storage for him. And then much like, and actually, do I have, oh no, I thought I had that too much. Then also, much like Leonardo, you do get 2 different head sculpts with them. The sculpting is basically the exact same. I'm trying to take a look here. They do look exactly the same. The biggest difference are the bandana colors. Now, in the original Eastman and Layer comics, they were black and white, so they didn't even have color. It wasn't until they started using color on the, or I should say, full color, when they started using that in the comics on the actual cover, did they give them a red bandana. And then the blue bandana and then the purple one here, like with Donnie, that was added in when they came out with the cartoon. In addition to wanting to, you know, differentiate them with the weapons, Playmates came around and said, you know, let's change the color of them and then also give them a little emblem on the belt. But it was predominantly the color of the mask. They wanted to change the color of it so that people could instantly recognize them by looking at them. So they give Donatello the purple. And then for this swapping out, you just pull this off and you just pop that on there and you can create that look. I'll leave that on here for the remainder of the video, but my personal preference is this red one. It does have a great sculpt to it. And then again, you can see it does kind of have a, I don't want to say sloppy, because I really don't believe that that was intended to be sloppy. I think it was designed to give it a, you know, kind of sketch sort of look, but you can see great detail with it. I love the fact that they have black kind of around the white of the eye. That's the same thing with the purple one, but you do have a little bit of a ball joint here. It really just mostly just rotates, but that is a slightly different position than how Leonardo's looks. So it is a little bit different there as well. And then obviously the head sculpt itself is different. So that's really cool, but we'll take a look at some of that stuff here in a bit. Now, as I mentioned, this is the Mondo exclusive version. So much like Leonardo came with the arm gauntlet for Shredder, Donatello comes with an exclusive piece as well. And this is his anti-gravity device, which was originally introduced to us in the one-shot comic that came out along with like the first couple issues of the Eastman and Layer comics. Now, what's cool, setting these kind of in the back, I do have the original comics. I have them in my hallway, and they're actually graded, so I can't really show you too much about it, but my camera keeps wanting to move over. This is the original cover. So like I said, the comics themselves were black and white, but the covers they actually put in color, and that's when they started doing the red bandana. Here's the anti-gravity device. Now, Now, looking through the comic, just flipping through the pages, Donnie, as well as all the other brothers, got one-shots, which were just stories that focused on, the individual characters. This one obviously focuses on Donnie. And he's going around and he's being attacked by something. And one thing that I'll say is Eastman and Laird were really heavily influenced by a very well-known kind of comic book creator. And this comic kind of pays homage to him with Kirby. So flipping through here we have Kirby. He's just sitting there, he's drawing, he has some kind of weird magic crystal that's attached to a pencil. And whatever Kirby drew came to life. So as you can see, I have like some flying bats and stuff, and now here's a little bug thing going through, and Donatello meets him. And again, you get a little bit of an up-close image of the pencil with the little stone on there, and then kind of flip in. Obviously, he's a very bad artist because he just basically draws a stick figure. So flipping through, we go to Kirby creating this portal that sends them to this alien world where they discover very quickly that they're not really cut out to kind of defend themselves. So what Kirby does is he brings his little notebook as well as his magical pencil, and he draws that anti-gravity device, or he calls it a gravatic equalizer or something, which cancels the gravity equations, which basically means anti-gravity. And then taking a look, so flipping it back to the main cover here, because I want to do a kind of comparison here. You can see this actually does a really nice job of recreating that. Now there's some extra details and paint and stuff on here because obviously through the rest of the comic it's black and white. So Mondo did a little bit of creative license with this, but I'm absolutely in love with it. I love the fact that the exclusives all have these little tiny nods to the original comics, because obviously these are meant to replicate, the comic book version of the Turtles, which I love. But you can see you got some little wire detail in there, sculpted in very nicely, some yellow, some red. You got some kind of gunmetal gray throughout there. Just an overall very simple piece, but really cool. Now it is kind of gummy. You can see it's a little bit flexible. And again, it does have that paint variation where it looks like a comic book. I really do dig that. Now, to put this on, it does get a little bit tricky to do. So what I recommend, come around here, remove his hand first and foremost, and then you come around here to this section, slide this piece up. This is how you do it. This piece is a separate piece, and then you can put the hand in there, kind of just wedge that through there, and the gumminess of it really does help. And then take this and slide this through so where he's kind of actually holding it. Make sure you push that all the way down, and now he's got it on his hand. And then you got the little peg right here. So the easiest way is to then bring this in, kind of line up where his hand is in there, and give that a little push. And it's tricky to do, but it is probably the easiest way to do it. So did I get it? No, I didn't get it. I actually moved the little post in there. So like I said, it is a little bit tricky to do, but it is probably the easiest way. There we go. But now you can have that, and I love it. I think that is wicked awesome, and obviously he's got the wrong head on. He should have this head on there, but that is wonderful. Again, all these little touches I think are great additions. I am kind of disappointed that this is, a Mondo exclusive, because I think that anybody who is a Turtle fan from the comic books would love to have something like this. But I would probably say if they are that big of fans of the Turtles from the comics, they probably got the Mondo exclusive version. So I don't think it's all that disappointing, but removing this, I just love that little accessory. I get why it's a little bit gummy, because you do have to move some of this to get the hand in there. One thing that it does result in it by having it be gummy plastic is that the paint feels very sticky on it, and that's kind of true with the entire piece. It does have a fairly stickiness to it. I still think that it's well done and the quality is still good on it. I don't know if that's going to wear off over time or what, but it is something that I don't want to say concerned about, but definitely think is worth paying attention to. Now, coming to Donatello himself. Detail-wise, again, Mondo has really nailed it with the look for this guy. The paint variation, the sculpting, all is really very, very nice. One thing that I was kind of talking about before is, though, the paint does have kind of a sticky feel to it. I mean, you can kind of feel it and you can hear it kind of. It in turn makes things a little bit kind of stuck feeling when you're trying to rotate things around. I mean, like you can hear here. I mean, it just has a feeling to it that I don't particularly like. Now, one thing that I will say is that, as I talked about, Leonardo did have some quality control issues. A lot of people had a breakage here for the belt, as well as his little sword holsters here. Now, luckily, mine didn't have any of that, but one thing that I will say is that the quality on this does feel improved. One other thing that was really problematic was a lot of people had a hard time popping these heads on. This is actually a little bit easier than I would like. It just kind of sits on there. It doesn't really feel like it grabs it, but because of the stickiness of it, it grips on there perfectly fine. But it does remove a little bit easier than I would like. Other people also had problems with like the hands and swapping those out. These are really easily removed this time. So a lot of those issues that kind of plagued the first release of the figure has been improved here. I give them a ton of credit for kind of recognizing some of those issues and going through and fixing it. But great detail. You can see some nice paint variation and such here in his kind of torso bit. As I was showing you, the shell here has some really nice detail with some nicks and gouges throughout the entire thing, and you come down and look, and again, real nice paint variation for the skin tone. It gives it a kind of uneven look, which I really like. And then even the knee pads here have a really cool paint wash and texture on them. Same with the elbow pad. So great amount of detail on the entire thing. Now, for some comparisons, obviously, bringing it back, here he is. And here he is next to Leonardo. Now, obviously, I have the red bandana on him, but like I was saying, you can see that the little kind of flap here is kind of sculpted in a different sort of position, so it gives it a little bit different of a look. The head, obviously, is completely different. You got the open mouth look here, whereas that's closed. Looking at the rest of the body, it kind of looks like the bodies are all the same. I don't see really anything different in the arms. The necks look the same. The torso bit looks the same. The paint variation, you can see you got some scratches and everything on Leo that have a little bit more of a black wash in here, so it looks a little bit different, but it is the same. Looking at the legs, that's all sculpted the same. The little tails are the same. Take a look at the actual shell. That also looks the same, but again, a different kind of paint wash on there does give it a slightly different look. It's kind of hard to see, but like you got the little gouge right here on him that Donnie does have, but because there's a more black wash in it, it looks a little different. Obviously, the weapon storage in the belt is going to be different, but like I was talking about, Leo here comes with a little pointing finger, so you can have him, partner, hey, what do you think you're doing? And he's like, hey, thumbs up this video, guys. So you can, slightly change the look of them, but everything else basically is the exact same. But like I was saying, there are some looseness issues to this guy, and some of the swapping, you can see it's a little bit looser on him, and things aren't nearly as refined and tightened. Donnie does have that, and I really do appreciate that. So the articulation in the neck is the exact same. It will have a tendency to pop off, though, because it doesn't really securely lock in, but you can position this kind of any way you really want. It doesn't have a lower neck joint, but you do get a nice range of motion there. The shoulders here are on these pin hinge joints, so they hinge forward and back. They do rotate fairly nicely. He does have a pin here at the upper part of the bicep, as well as the elbow. So a lot of times this can get a little bit twisted around, and when I got mine out of the package, the actual tricep was on the front of them. You can tell the difference because the tricep has this kind of positioning, whereas the bicep has a more rounded sort of look. So make sure that you have that rotated properly. He does bend here at the elbow a little less than 90 degrees. I do wish that was a little bit more extensive of a bend. He does rotate at the wrist. He also does have the hinge flexing forward and back. Nothing at the waist, unfortunately. And then he does have the pin hinge joints for the hips, which means you're really stuck in terms of the positioning of it. You have to rotate them to move it around. So like right now, it can move forward and back, and this is a little bit softer of a piece, very rubbery feeling. So you can move that forward, but then to move it out, it's locked. You have to kind of lift it and then rotate it to get that little hinge section so that you can flex it out, which I do not like those joints. I wish they did just a standard kind of ball joint or something like that. But, you know, in terms of articulation, I mean, it does have that range of motion. It's just really difficult to kind of utilize it. I don't particularly like that. He does rotate at the upper part of the thigh. He's got two nice joints here at the knee, but it does create kind of a weird shape when you bend it. Knees don't really look like that, and it in turn makes him look like he's got two knees because there's two different joints right there. So I do wish that that was kind of incorporated a little bit better into the body, but it's still nice that it's still there. And then the ankles do have this weird kind of spinning kind of thing. You can see it flexes forward and back. It is a little bit limited because of the sculpt of it, but you can move it a pretty decent range of motion. And then it's like the pin kind of goes down an angle, so it rotates it right there. So you can see it's kind of towards the front here. So you can get some very wide poses with them if you get the hip kind of working decently. So all the articulation that you does this little tail actually, and yes, this is a tail, guys. I know some of it, this actually does rotate. People are going to make inappropriate comments, but that is actually a tail, which is accurate to how the original comic books were drawn. So get your minds out of the gutter. I know somebody is going to make a comment about it, and that's what it is. It's his tail. Turtles have tails, so it is accurate. But in general, I'm really very happy with it. It is a great piece. I think that just the regular edition, which is all, unfortunately, that is available right now, is still really well worth the money. Combine the fact that the exclusives do come with really cool nods to the original comics. I'm absolutely loving these figures. A lot of people will still point at NECA as being the definitive versions of the comic book Turtles, and I will still say that, but based on two reasons. Number one, the scale. Now that's neither a good or a bad thing. If you want kind of like 6-inch figures, they're perfect scale. I like the 6 scale ones, so these work perfectly fine for me. So that's kind of a wash. But what I do think that the NECA ones do a little bit better is the coloring. Not so much the color versions that they made, but the black and white ones. If Mondo made a box set with all 4 of these turtles in a black and white color scheme, maybe if it was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive or something like that, I would buy that all day long and probably replace these ones with that black and white set, just because I love that look. So Mondo, if you're listening, get on that. But honestly, I really do like these. The accessory count is really nice. The way that the figure looks is beautiful. I do think that the paint is a little bit problematic just because of the sticky nature of it, but it doesn't appear to really ruin the figure. It's just not as, I guess, refined feeling as I would like. Now, as I mentioned, unfortunately, the exclusive version is sold out, but the regular version is available. And if you're a Turtles fan, I would absolutely recommend picking these up. Going from Leo to Donnie, Mondo has shown a marked improvement in their figures. And I can't wait to see how Michelangelo and, of course, Raphael turn out. So all that being said, if Donatello here is a figure that you'd like to add to your collection, he's available right now at places such as Sideshow Collectibles. So all you have to do for that is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to Sideshow where you can check out availability on this, as well as the rest of the Mondo 1/6 scale Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget that if you like this video, to please hit that thumbs up button. It goes a long way towards helping me out, and I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe in case you haven't already subscribed. It's free, and you'll get instant email notifications whenever I upload a new video, and you'll never miss out on a future review of mine. Or hey, if you're already subscribed, do me a real quick favor and click on that little bell right below this video, and double check your settings to make sure that they're set so that you get those email notifications. And as always, until next time, cowabunga, dudes!